Stuka Joe here for another unannounced video, and today is Wednesday, right? And completely unannounced, we have 8 people, and this is a very special video. It's a first of a kind for me. If you've been following my channel, I've been doing live streams, never with a guest, because we add things one at a time. And today we have an unboxing of a game, and I checked, nobody has unboxed this game. It's a new game, but nobody has unboxed it for some reason. I think it's not accessible to a lot of people. I'll tell you later when we unbox it. But I also brought along a guest to unbox it with me, because it's always good to have somebody to get a second opinion on what's going on. And because this is the first time I have a guest live, I wanted to make sure it was somebody special for me, and it's somebody special for you who does a lot for the hobby. So here is our special guest today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dan Duce Pancaldi. So Dan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Dan, you know, you've been doing No Enemies here for how much time now?
5 years.
5 years. For me, it seems like yesterday.
I know, man. I know. I mean, it was, and it was you that kicked it off, Joe, because I had so much music. You said, put it on the net, start a channel, do something at the news or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're a Saturday morning fixture, you know.
Yeah.
So and it's great. It's great what you do, and I'm sure everybody appreciates, you know, that level of commitment.
Thank you very much, Joe.
You've been doing the CSRs, which that is also something of high order. That's not easy, also. So we appreciate that too.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So let's see, who do we have here today? I think some people that hear that we have Michael Mellon, we have John Clark, we have Eric from California, from Eric's Table. We have New York Raider fans, so we're coast to coast now. We have VT View from the Turret. Welcome. Okay, we have also James Whitmer. We have Julian Bustamante from Colombia. Saludos, Julian. Very well. And we have also Wardy Rogue, the famous Wardy Rogue.
I swear to God, that guy, I'm going to get him one day. I swear to God, Joe.
Hugh Hefner of Wargaming. you put names to a lot of people that's...
man, he was wearing a robe, but he looks like Hugh Hefner.
Yeah. And we have Brian Gash, so welcome also. So, and wait, we got one more in. St. Louis Keith, representing the Midwest. Yes, sir. Thank you and welcome. So, I like to do live content that can be interesting to watch, obviously. And I noticed nobody's doing live unboxings, you know? And we're all war gamers. When you open a game, it's like a surprise. You're waiting for a game and you open it and you go, oh man, this really sucks. This isn't what I wanted. Or you go, yeah, this is really cool, right?
Yeah.
So today we're going to do an unboxing of a game that I haven't seen anybody doing any coverage on. And I think the reason is because it's not accessible to everybody. And I'm not saying because I'm some big shot or something. It is a game that you have to purchase 20 games before it to get it. So have you heard about Turning Point Simulations, Dan?
Yeah, I have actually, Joe. One of the videos I did with you, one of my first videos I did with you, is the Stalingrad one.
Yeah, the Battle of Stalingrad. You did the music for that one, yes.
And
that
how?
was
What do those games go for? Like approximately? Is it always the same price, or is it a different price per game?
More or less. They would issue them 4 by year, and they're 20. So it took about 5 years to issue all 20, and I think that would go for 25 or 28 bucks each.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad.
If you purchased all 20, or you subscribed, or you purchased all 20, they would send you a bonus 21 game. That's the one we're going to open today. So let's see if this. Let's go pick the game up, and let's take a look at the game. It's not a big box. Here it is. So this is We Are All Mortal. And what I'll do is I'm going to place it here on the table, and we will take a look at it. And I'm going to place you now in the corner here. See if this, there you go.
You know what's cool about those games, though, is that they do come with a mounted board. I enjoy mounted boards. I mean, it's not the thickest board, but still, mine hasn't warped yet.
Okay, we got also here joining us today on this unannounced video, War Table from San Jose, California. Welcome. Now, these games come with the most maligned counter tray in wargaming. Everybody speaks badly about these trays because if you actually use them and place the counters on them and you move this around, they're gonna flip. But I think these trays are good. If you're playing a game, they're open, very open, so they're good to sort. But I usually use baggies, and I put the baggies in the tray.
That's exactly what I do.
Okay, so this is We Are All Mortal. And this is the Cuban Missile Crisis, 1962. So I think I was 1 year old when that happened. So you have a jet here. Does anybody know what kind of jet this is? But it looks very nice. And you see it's chapter 21 because the other 20 are the ones that came before and are in the book. And this one is by Paul Rohrbaugh. Let's take a look at the back of the box. You see, it's a simple map of Cuba, hexes, and a lot of space. There's a lot of space left. You have some tracks. So it's about the Cuban Missile Crisis.
What's the difficulty on that, Joe?
Well, let's see if it's. I don't think these games say. It says ages 14 and up, but it doesn't have a. It's 233 pieces. There's 64 cards here. Well, I wasn't aware of that. So, this is we got Techie Guy, 2011, A6 Intruder. Thank you very much. So we have a sample there of some of the counters, and we have good old Fidel Castro, of course. That's your target if you are the, what are you saying, the Americans, I suppose, one of the targets there. So you got a mounted map board, 233 pieces, 12 pages of rules. Oh, game skill level advanced. So it's
really, eh? Oh. And I didn't think Paul Rohrbaugh did complex games.
Well, it's all relative, I suppose, to other games he's done. So let's see how we open this thing. And I'm gonna have to get some scissors. I don't have the fancy what everybody uses is the blades. I just use a scissors. So
you know, Joe, Paul Rohrbaugh, it's really good of him in his high flying dice company that he makes a very accessible and simple mechanic type games, man.
Yes, he has a series of games that you play with a deck of poker cards, and the activation varies from turn to turn, and I've seen those. I haven't done a video yet on those games, but what I like is they have a small footprint. So for videos, those are nice because they all fit in this table. So okay, I've removed the shrink. Let's take off this lid. Here we see this cover, and there's suddenly some cards here. So we got.
Look at that. Okay.
Look nice. This is the U.S. deck. There's more U.S. deck. I guess I have to put it in 4 baggies so that it will close the box. And you have the communist deck. So we have communist and U.S. deck. And all these games bring this little game here. Wonder what's the name of this one. This looks like a Napoleonic game here. Oh, it's going to be on the back side. Oh, see if I can find the title. Where is it?
It was in front, Joe. It was in front, upside down.
Oh, okay.
You got it now. To the left.
Oh, a hard pounding fight. The battle for La Haye. How do you pronounce that?
La Haye. La Haye Saint.
La Haye Saint. Okay, that's Waterloo. So you got La Haye Saint there prominently in the middle. You have the counters. I prefer the mounted counters, but you have these here that you can cut. And this one is also designed by Paul Rohrbaugh.
By Paul, yeah.
Mark Mahaffey, the graphic artist.
And Paul Rohrbaugh.
Okay, so there you have it. This is one of those post games. Here we have the rules. We have James here. Let me see, James. It says that you were also 1 year old. Okay, 3 weeks before the Berlin Wall went up, you were born. Okay, nice. So that's 2 of us. I was born in June. So here we have the rules of play, and they clock in at, I think, 11 pages. So let's take a look. We have here the explanation. It's a little dark there, that brown counter. Let me see if I can focus better. Formation, combat factor, and movement. That's the 3. And the blue one is combat factor, and the 2 is movement. So that's classic. If it has a yellow combat factor, armor, special combat ability. Then you have some Soviet Air Force, the MiG-17. You got the F-8 here.
Yeah, I'm glad he's got some illustrations on it, not just NATO symbols. I prefer it with a little bit of illustration.
Yeah, they look nice.
Yeah, because I need pictures, Joe.
You need pictures. Okay. So you have here. Let's see how this is organized. We got the introduction, game components, right? There's a list of abbreviations, unit status. Full strength, concealed. So there's concealed ground units and disrupted ground units. And then you have the sequence of play, pre-game card selection phase, card play phase. So this looks like a card, almost like a card-driven game, because you have to play a card from your hand. Then, let's see where this continues over here. You got military operations phase, on war turns only, end turn phase on all turns. That's the sequence of play. Okay. And we have rules for the cards. Let's take a closer look here. Okay, so we have the sample card there. You got the peace actions, illustration, and war actions. So that apparently there's like a peace phase, and then you go into a war phase. And yeah, so I guess the Soviet one is on the right, and the communist one and the U.S. deck on the left.
I mean, it doesn't look, up to now, it doesn't look that complicated.
No. So how to read the cards, there's rules there. There's rules on military operations. There's activation markers. Okay. So you can do a move action, an attack action, or both a move and an attack action. How they are activated, I don't know, but there's activation markers. So I don't know if this is a chit pool, but it looks like it. We have stacking rules, recovery rules, reinforcements, mobilization levels. And now we're at page 8. Got special units. So this is the Chrome part. You got Fidel Castro, USSR ballistic missile units, nuclear armed air units. So there's nukes, tactical nuclear artillery strikes, concealed units. There's Cuban and USSR ground units. So the Soviets are in Cuba also in this game, apparently. There's Soviet units represented in the game. UN intervention, anti-aircraft fire. Then you have the game setup. And you have the communist setup. And then you have the US setup. Okay, so winning the game, diplomatic victory points, point awards, military victory point awards. So there's 2 types of victory points. Okay, and that's page 9. You got some optional rules. You got CIA units.
Of course. What are you going to do without the CIA?
Yeah, our good old friends there. and Spetsnaz units. Then you have designer notes, which are lengthy, at least 1 page. You got Kennedy worried there that the world is going to end if he screws up. And then in the back, let me see what is this. This is a UN intervention table. Oh, and there's a -1 for each tactical nuclear strike made by the U.S. or the communist player. So yes, there's tactical nukes at least here, and there's a possible result for nuclear war. I think everybody loses, I suppose, with that one. So yeah, I'll definitely be reading the rules here. This looks like something different. Got a terrain effects chart. You got mixed terrain, rough, town, city, coastal, road. And yes, this is a Cold War game, definitely. We got here New York Raider fan. $600 to get all games. Yeah, well, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Ouch. Okay. Okay, Joey, welcome. You're late, but you're here. Okay, so We Are All Mortal. That's the game by Turning Point Simulation. Okay.
Joe, what does it say in the nuclear detonation effects at the bottom?
Okay, it says any unit that enters a nuclear detonation hex. That doesn't sound like a nice place to be.
No.
Or starts its activation in such a hex must roll 1d6, and if the die roll is lower than the owning player's ML, I don't know if that's morale level or something like that, there is no effect. But if it's higher, the unit is immediately marked as disrupted, and if disrupted, it is marked as hit, eliminated if a one-step unit.
1 step?
Well, if it has 1 step, it's eliminated, because it's like getting a loss of 1 step. If the die roll is more than double the owning player's ML, the unit is both disrupted and hit. I've already hit, eliminated. So, yeah, nuclear detonation effect, because this assumes they're tactical nuclear weapons. So you have to roll for the effect on the unit. So let's take a look now at the counters. Just took a look at the rules. It's 1 counter sheet. Here it is. Usually against the odds, they're pretty thick. Their thickness is not a problem. So here we see the counters. Let's zoom in. So here we see the American forces. You got the 82nd Airborne there. Okay. You got a Marine Brigade, 2nd Marine Brigade, 6th Marine Brigade, 8th. There's another 2 Marine brigades, so I don't know why there's 2 counters. The one has a G. And we have here the 1st Airborne Brigade. Oh, we have the 101, the Screaming Eagles also. I think this is a chit pull because you have activation markers.
Yeah.
So you activate the Americans have the 101, the 82nd Airborne. You have the 2nd Marine Division. Okay. You have this one here, which is the 4th. I don't know if looks like a 4th Armored Division. And you got the 1st Armored Division also. So you got at least 5 divisions. Oh, you got the 1st Cavalry also. So you got some famous divisions here. We have the military and what was the other? The DVP. There's 2 types of victory points. I forgot the other one. You have there's a lot of planes here. Okay, F4s, F100s. Oh, and these are the B-52s.
I like the way you did that.
They don't fit in the counters.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then you have if you buy a Thai bomber game, it comes automatically with these, even if it's an Antietam game. I'm just kidding. Okay, so you have here these. We know what they are. Then we have they brought the counters to the postcard game. That's a nice touch. That's a nice touch. Usually you have to get them apart, so that's a nice touch. Appreciate that.
When I saw that Napoleonic guy, I said, "Oh, I think they screwed up."
Well, maybe they had an optional rule. You can bring in Napoleon in Cuba and land him in Santiago for his last stand there now. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look at the other side. We have the communist forces. That's some mechanized infantry, tanks, artillery strikes, nuclear strikes.
Did you notice, Joe, that they make the American counters look real pretty and the Russian ones? Just saying. Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah, well, they look. I mean, they're red. I mean, what else? And then you have Castro there. I'm looking for Che Guevara, but I can't find him. He's not in the game. Well, no. He's probably there with Castro. So if you bomb that counter out, you're taking out Che also. So there you got Las Villas. That's a region in Cuba. Got Spetsnaz. So that's special forces for the Russians. You got Santiago. That's another city there. Camagüey. So these are parts of Cuba West. So these are organized by location in Cuba. There's some initials. I don't know what they are. The 3rd Division, FAR. I don't know what that is. Pinar del Rio. That's in Western Cuba. And here we have concealed. Nice. I like it. Get concealed markers. +2 die roll modifier. And here we have the Soviet and Cuban Air Forces. Ilyushin 28. I got the missiles here.
Yeah.
Well, it's a missile crisis, right? Better come with some missiles. S4s.
What's that FBS Fury? It looks like a Spitfire.
Where? Let me see.
The last plane.
Oh, yeah. That looks like a Spitfire. Well,
yeah.
Maybe they were hard pressed. Spitfires in 1961. Well, okay, they'll use anything that flies, I suppose. So that is the front part of the counter sheet. Let's take a quick look at the back. So I'll just flip it around, and here's the back. And you got, I think, reduced ratings here. And of course, activation markers don't have anything but AM on the other side. You got reduced ratings. These are the concealment markers on the back. So that is the back of the counter sheet. So now let's take a look at the map. Well, let's see if there's anything else before the map. Yes, there's a player aid card. So let's take it's a one-sided player aid card. So let's take a look at it. Here it is. And you have communist air unit availability. So this is where you place your air units. Air units for the communists, Cuban and Soviet. Air unit pool, available air units, air reconnaissance missions, air strike missions, air superiority missions. And we have on the other side, well, the same, but for the U.S. Air unit pool, available U.S. carrier. So you have forces, of course, they come from U.S. carriers. You have the air unit pool and available air units. And then you have U.S. available ground units. And then you have the interception, air interception. So that's how you resolve it there. Adjacent hex attack diroll modifiers. Okay, so you see, for example, amphibious assault. Where's the modifier? Here's the modifier. -1 diroll modifier, depending on these circumstances that you see there. And then the same hex close assault diroll modifier. So you have different types of combat, I suppose. So that's the player aid. And now comes the thing everybody was waiting for. Let's see. So now, Dan. Oh, I don't have a drum roll. So here comes the part that everybody was waiting for. The counter tray.
Oh, God.
See, nobody likes these counter trays because you place the counters there and then you do this and
Yeah,
there they go. But if you're playing the game, these are really handy because they are easy to pick up. So I think when I play a game, I pull out one of these and I use it. So I can't complain. So what else comes in the box? You get some advertisement here. And these are the games that Against the Odds is going to come out this year. Let's take a look. Clash of Carriers, the Battle of the Philippine Seas, A Crowning Glory, that's Austerlitz, and Blind Faith, the Hussite War, man, that's the 1400s, and The Heron in Flight, The Approach to Stalingrad. That one sounds interesting. And then there's the annual. They sell an annual edition, and this one brings Flying Corps. I think that's the name, Flying Corps. No, the Cruelest Month, Air War over Arras. How do you pronounce that? Arras?
Arras.
Arras, okay. So that's what's on this side.
Or, actually, it's Ara.
Ara, without, yeah. And here are all the games that you have to have. So they send you this one.
You know, it is a cool library to have, though, you know?
Yeah, there's stuff for everybody.
Man, Richard Berg designed a game. Actually, a couple of games.
Yeah, he did one on, let me see which I found interesting on the, where is it? Let's see if I can see it. It's not Shalom. It's the Metataurus, I think. Yeah. Well, you see there the games and the designers. And you see the covers.
Nah, it's actually really cool to have all that, you know?
Yeah, I think it's good to have the whole collection.
Yeah.
If you can, but it costs $600, then, you know.
Nah, you don't bite in a shot. If you bite in one shot, good for you.
Yeah, let's take a look at another vital component that the game brings. These super duper dice. These are very small. These are tiny. They bring, you know, I like to use these dice for videos because they don't take a lot of space. So I usually use tiny dice to show the die roll. So I will be definitely using these dice. They're not wasted. And now, okay, now we really go to the component that I guess is one of the most important, right? Oh, we haven't looked at the cards yet. Oh, we'll look at the cards after we take a look at the map. And here is the map. So we got Cuba here. And you got the regions here, the Santiago de Cuba, Guantanamo. There's Guantanamo. You have like mountainous terrain here. This is the Sierra Maestra in Cuba. That's the most mountainous region there in Cuba. That's where Fidel Castro, when he was coming in to try to take over Cuba, everything went south and he hid in the Sierra Maestra and built his forces there because it's a really hard, impenetrable area for Batista, the government forces. So that's where the Cuban Revolution began militarily. And you have some cities there, Santiago, which is an important city, Manzanillo, Holguín, Las Tunas, Camagüey, Ciego de Ávila, Sancti Spiritus, Cienfuegos, and then you have Havana. You got La Isla de la Juventud, this island here. I wonder if that's playable. And you have Pinar del Rio, which is on the east of the island.
That Isla de la Juventud, is that where they had Castro Youth?
I don't know. It's one of those islands under Cuban control there. And we have some tracks. We have turn record track. And I like it when it has the number and the date. So some games just say turn 1, 2, 3, and then you don't know what date you're referring to. Here it goes from October 10 to November 4, 1962. You have the diplomacy track here, and it starts at 3 for both sides. And here you have the game record track. So I guess you keep track of several things there. And you have a box there for Cuban and Soviet air pool and available units. And then there's another box on the other side of the map here for US units. So that's the map. Now we can take a look at the cards. And we got one of the decks for the US. I think they split them in 4 so that the box would close. Oops. Well, arrange that. There you go. These are the pitfalls of new games. Here we go. So Dan, what's up in your channel? What's coming up?
Well, what's coming up? Well, we got some CSR news coming up. I'm probably going to have some news for that on Saturday.
Okay.
And you know Stigler?
Yes.
Alan Dickerson. He designed a game.
Yeah, for the great battles of the American Civil War, right?
Yeah, and I want to interview him, but I'll see. I'll try to get in touch with him tomorrow.
That's great.
See if we can yap about the solo aspect of the games, because I know he really loves solo.
Oh yeah, that's a series that's been going on for a lot of years. The great and what I like about this particular series is that, oops, let me get this back here. Okay, is that these are small battles. The ones that he designed a pack, I think, with small battles, so it's good for getting new players into the system because there's not a lot of counters.
Okay, so it's not complex then.
Well, it's complex because it's the system, but the physical complexity is low because you don't deal with with 100 counters per side, which doesn't help too much if you're learning the system. So I think it's like the same phenomenon that happens with Salerno 43, which if you want to start learning that Simonich's 19XX system, that's a good place to start. It's just one map and few counters. So, okay, so we have our cards here. This is the US deck. Aircraft carrier Essex deployed. So you have your like events here. And you have the effect here. Okay. Got another one here. This is extra U2 flights. And I think what these events mean is that, let me check the rules just a second. Because they had like two kinds of events. Okay. Okay, you have here peace actions, card illustration, war actions. Okay.
I see. Okay.
That's the way it's organized. Okay, so here, I don't know what's the war action here, but it's when you got another extra U2 flight, and the U2 was busy, huh?
I guess it was.
And you got here SAM batteries targeted. Okay. You got SAM batteries targeted. That's surface-to-air missile. Direct talks. So you got a diplomacy going on here. But it can't be played after the war breaks out. Because there's a peace phase in the game, then there's a war phase. Direct talks. So that's also a second direct. President calls the Soviet bluff. Cannot be played after war breaks out.
No, Joe, I'm wondering, does the game have to get to war, or can it be resolved diplomatically?
That's a good question. That's the thing with the unboxing. You have the perfect excuse. It's an unboxing. I haven't read the rules. Otherwise, I would be cheating if I read the rules. Okay, here we go. This is Gung Ho. Okay, you roll a die, and a number of Marine units may activate for the second time. Okay. Kennedy receives conflicting advice. Treat as no event. Okay. Conflicting advice again. And he's got some really bad advisors, apparently.
I think so, man.
Man, you got to fire some people, Kennedy. Okay. And we have here, makes a televised speech. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the missiles from Russia are on their way. Okay, so here, cannot be played after war breaks out. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
again,
think this game wants war.
Yeah. And we have death from above. And this one can only be played as a random event once war breaks out. Strategic Air Command, put on alert. You got Honest John, nuclear artillery warhead deployed.
God help us.
Oh boy. Bombers with tactical nuclear warheads deployed. Can't believe this Thai bomber didn't design this game.
I know.
First Armored Division deployed to Europe. Okay. Hoa! This can be played when the war breaks out. So some are playable with peace, others when war's out. This is also once war breaks out. Hot landing zone. 2nd Infantry Division deployed to Europe. This one can be played when war breaks out, okay?
Uh-oh.
Agree to dismantle Jupiter missile bases. Cannot be played, yeah, because this is like, like a peace card. And same one again. This is a base in Turkey. Yeah, the other one is in Turkey also. Semper Fortis can only be played when war breaks out as a random event. And CIA-trained Cuban nationalist forces deployed. Also when war breaks out. So you have your Bay of Pigs kind of thing going on here.
Yeah,
the same here. So those are the U.S. cards. Oh, we still got a couple more to go here. Robert Kennedy brought in. Okay, this is only when there's peace. And Robert Kennedy brought in again. Okay. So those are the U.S. event. Now we go to the communist events or cards. And let's take a look at You got Nikita
There he
Khrushchev.
is. There he
Stein.
is.
Ching ching
You know,
there.
he looks like the Harkonnen guy in Dune.
You got another one here. Treat as no event. He's hitting the vodka, whatever, hard there.
Yeah.
Treat as no event.
When's he gonna pull out a shoe?
I think half of the card just Nikita drinking here. Okay, here we have Khrushchev reassures Castro cannot be played after war breaks out. So this has an effect on the mobilization level, like it says there, +1, but not on the diplomatic victory points. So I guess that's what I surmise. You have another one of those here. He reassures Castro. And then you have 4K-87 Subka tactical nuclear. Ugh, this sounds bad. And this cannot be played after war breaks out. So they're deploying their nukes here. Cubans and Soviets. Here you have the Ilyushin 28 bombers with tactical nuclear warheads deployed. So this is also cannot be played after war breaks out, but it's deployment of nukes. Spetsnaz deployed to Cuba.
Man, that must have been a hell of a time back then.
Oh, it says can also be played as a random event once war breaks out. So some cards, apparently you can play in both phases. So you still have to roll a die. I like cards that have random events that you have to roll the die anyway, because it gives the game more uncertainty. So you have to roll the die, and then you can deploy them under concealment markers on any friendly land hex in Cuba. Okay, and that's what the concealment markers are for. Spetsnaz, again, here you have another one. And then you have the invasion of Berlin threatened, cannot be played after war breaks out. Here the communists roll one die, and it just advances the end turn marker. Okay. Mirror side set, I don't know what this is. This probably was a blooper. And invasion of Berlin declared.
You know, it's funny, Joe, I never thought about that. If Cuba was going to be invaded, and war was going to break out, for sure they would have invaded in Berlin. I never even thought about that. I never even thought about that. How ridiculous.
Yeah, it would be like the natural escalation, right? The war starts in Cuba, and then it starts. It starts in other places too. Yeah. Kennedy, alarmed by his military chiefs, cannot be played after war breaks out. Same card again.
Joe, that picture of McNamara. Have you seen his documentary called Fog of War?
No.
It's tremendous. Tremendous.
I'll check it out. You got key Politburo members get involved. Increases the diplomatic level. So one thing is the diplomatic level, I suppose, is that to keep things under peace, and mobilization level, I think you're going towards war. That looks like what's happening here. You have another one there. Politburo members involved. Nuclear torpedoes aboard Soviet submarines. See here, this one increases diplomatic level by 2, but also mobilization by 1, and can be played as a random event when war breaks out. And then you still have to roll dice to see if it happens. So I like that mechanic. It's not automatic because some people don't like those games. Oh, now I play the weather card, and you have this snowstorm, and you lost. You still have to roll. Soviet cargo ships turned back. Okay. And we have another one of those. Castro is not happy. See, it's not only JFK who has problems. And you have here a -1 to the diplomatic level and mobilization -1. And not be played after war breaks out. You have direct talks. There were direct talks also in the U.S. deck. So here you roll a die and score the following. U.S. ML by 1. Reduce communist ML by 1. That's a mobilization level. And then Komar missile boats strike. Yeah, this increases the mobilization level. and can only be played as a random event once war breaks out. Komar Missiles Boat Strike, you have another one? I like it. There's a lot of cards. I mean, some repeat themselves, but got a nice variety there. Direct Talks again. Heroes of the Soviet Union can only be played as a random event once war breaks out. Okay, a number of Soviet units can activate for a second time, depending on the result of the die roll. 3 or 2 units. We have another Heroes of the Soviet Union card. Libertad o Muerte can only be played as a random event once war breaks out. Communist player rolls a d6. Yeah, it's see how many units you can activate again. So it's like a double move.
Again.
Okay, but I like it that you have to roll. It's not automatic. It's 3 or 2, but you have to roll. Cool. Cuban redeployment. Here the mobilization level increases. You can play as a random event once war breaks out. And you have, again, 3 or 2 units. Cuban redeployment again. Aggressive surface-to-air missile battery. Mobilization goes up by 1. You can play as a random event when war breaks out. Okay.
It seems like the Russian cards are way more aggressive than the American ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of missiles. Yeah, that's why we have those missile counters there. And you have aggressive surface-to-air missile battery there. So those are the cards. So I don't know if I can call it a card-driven game. If I would have read the rules, I could say, but it looks like the cards have a lot of weight, and it seems that the way the rules are phrased there, that you have to play a card here. It says card play phase, so both players play a card, but there's other phases, so it may be just one part of the play, but looks interesting. It's I wonder if let's see here, if it will ever be for sale, because let me see the camera. This camera can focus back here. Okay, so let me see one thing here. It's focusing down here. Let me do this. This is activate the camera. Just wake up, camera. Now it doesn't wake up. Okay, here we go. It's sleeping. Supposed to wake up.
I think you're too tall.
I got to do this now. I'll use it. There you go. Come on, man. Okay. Supposed to do this. See my hand. Come on, wake up, camera. No, I won't wake up. Okay, let me do it manually then. There it is. Okay, let me get back here. Okay, so here we are. So that is, what's the name of this? We Are All Mortal. This is volume 21 of the Turning Point Simulations, what you call it, 20 most decisive battles of history. And that's the unboxing. That's all there is. And Dan, I want to thank you for being here with me.
Joe, thanks a lot. It's my pleasure, man.
Okay, let's see here the comments here. The production values are great. Not my genre of game, but some titles of these titles sure are. Oh, and enjoying. Okay, my pleasure. So, and also techie guy here. Okay, so I like the components. I have to read the rule book, and maybe I'll do a video on it. I don't know. It depends. My channel, I'll be doing, let me see if I can catch this here. You see that game back there? You see that assault on Gallipoli there? Oh, you don't see it. Let me. Oh, okay. Okay. No, the camera isn't working either. Let me. Here you go. Oh, I think I lost Dan. Are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm here.
Okay, let me see if my camera doesn't want to work either. I only have my the camera. Before the second camera drops dead, I think I'll leave it for now. I'm trying to connect this thing. Oh, okay. Oh, there we are. No, It won't move. Static. It's static. I don't know why. Okay, just a second. Okay, let's see. Nice. Okay. It won't move for some reason. I'll find out later. So now I don't move either. Let me see. Okay, people, before everything goes to the crappers, right now, nothing will move here. So that's live TV. And let me try one more thing. Okay. No, it just won't move. It's weird. Okay, Dan, well, I'll let you say goodbye. And what we will do is, as soon as you say goodbye, I'll do the flyover outro, and that'll be it, okay?
Okay, well, look, thanks, people, for showing up for this live unboxing. Joe, thank you very much for having me on. They say you'll never forget your first. This was my first, man.
Okay, let's
So
make
have a
sure
good
it's not
evening.
the last. Okay. Thanks, man. Take care.
Ciao.
Oh.